Hello students. In the last class we have discussed about the salient features of Human Genome Project. In this class let us discuss about the next concept and the last concept of molecular basis of inheritance chapter, that is DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting. This is the last concept of molecular basis of inheritance chapter. DNA fingerprinting is a technique of identifying a person. It's a technique of identifying a person on the basis of his or her DNA specificity. DNA fingerprinting can be defined as, it can be defined as a technique of identifying a person on the basis of his or her DNA specificity. On the basis of DNA specificity, identifying a person, or it can also be defined as a technique that facilitates. DNA fingerprinting can also be defined as a technique that facilitates the identity of a person, facilitate the identity of a person at the genetic or DNA level. Technique that facilitates the identity of a person at the genetic level or at the DNA level. This is called as DNA fingerprinting. Means by this technique we can identify a person. Clearly we can identify a person at the level of genes or at the level of DNA. And this technique was given by Alec Jeffreys. DNA fingerprinting technique was given by Alec Jeffreys in 1985. This technique was given by Alec Jeffreys in 1985. From the Human Genome Project, we knew that in human beings, 99.9% of genome is similar in all individuals. Right? Already we knew that in human beings are 99% of genome. 99.9% of genome is similar in all individuals. Only we can observe the difference in 0.1% of genome or 0.1% of genetic material is different in different individuals. The salient feature of Human Genome Project. One of the salient feature of Human Genome Project is 99.9% of genome is similar in all individuals. And another salient feature of Human Genome Project is only 0.1% of genome or genetic material is different in different individuals. The presence of this 0.1% of difference in the genetic material gives specific identity to a person. Each individuals are different from each other, and that difference is mainly because of 0.1% of genome. 0.1% of genome which is different in different individual, that difference only gives specific identity to a person. First, we have to separate this 99.9% of genome which is common in all individuals from 0.1% of genome or genetic material which is different in different individuals. Or we can call it as 0.1% of genome or genetic material as unique genetic material because it is unique to a person. That 0.1% of genome or genetic material is unique, means it is a particular type in particular individual, and that 1.1% of genome is different in different individual. First we have to separate these two. This is called as bulk DNA and this is called as satellite DNA. The major portion of the genome forms bulk DNA, whereas the smaller unique portion of the genome forms the satellite DNA. Based on density gradient, we can separate based on density gradient, or by using density gradient we can separate 99.9% of genome from 0.1% of genome which is unique to particular individual. Based on density gradient we can separate these two, or using density gradient centrifugation technique. Density gradient centrifugation technique we can separate these two kinds of genome present in particular individual. When we separate these two, when we separate 99.9% of genome from 0.1% of genome using density gradient centrifugation technique, we will get two peaks. Means like this. One is larger peak and another one is smaller one. And this larger one is called as bulk DNA, or it is called as bulk genome. This is called bulk genome or bulk DNA. Whereas the smaller portion is formed by the 0.1% of unique genome or 0.1% of unique genetic material which is specific to particular individual is called as satellite DNA. This is called as satellite DNA. Means when we separate the complete genome of an individual using density gradient centrifugation, then we will get two forms. One is called bulk DNA or bulk genome, which constitutes 99.9% of the genome, and another one is called as satellite DNA, which constitutes 0.1% of genome in an individual. Then the satellite DNA contains repetitive DNA. Satellite DNA contains repetitive DNA. We will discuss in detail regarding the satellite DNA and the types of satellite DNA. It is important for NEET. Satellite DNA constitutes just 0.1% of the DNA or genome, and the satellite DNA is unique to individual, or this satellite DNA only gives particular identity to an individual. Satellite DNA contains repetitive DNA. Satellite DNA contains repetitive DNA. Repetitive DNA means particular number of bases which is getting repeated many times. Repetitive DNA, or fixed number of base pairs. Fixed number of base pairs which is getting repeated many times. That is called as repetitive DNA. Satellite DNA can be classified into two types. repetitive DNA, and this satellite DNA is classified into two types based on certain criteria. Based on AT-CG ratio. Based on AT-CG ratio means based on adenine and purine ratio. Adenine always forms base pairing with the thymine. Cytosine always forms base pairing with the guanine. This is called complementary base pairing. Based on the adenine, thymine and cytosine guanine ratio, then based on the length of repetitive DNA. Based on the length of repetitive DNA. Length of repetitive DNA. Length of repetitive DNA is nothing but, or length of repetitive DNA is directly proportional to number of base pairs. Number of base pairs means, for example, the length of repetitive DNA AA, T, CC, CCG. These are the base pairs. Totally here 6 base pairs are there, and these 6 base pairs are getting repeated many times in an individual. For example, in the individual A or individual X, this is the repetitive DNA or particular 6 number of base pairs which is getting repeated many times, and this sequence is only present in that particular individual only, and the presence of this repetitive DNA gives particular kind of specificity to the particular individual. Length of repetitive DNA or length of DNA means this one. The number of base pairs present in the repetitive DNA gives the length of the repetitive DNA. Then the third criteria is number of times repetitive DNA is getting repeated. The number of times repetitive DNA getting repeated. The number of time the repetitive DNA which is getting repeated in an individual, or that number of time is also called as copy number. Copy number. For example, in an individual X, this is the repetitive DNA which is getting repeated 15 times in chromosome number 1, or this is the repetitive DNA which is getting repeated 5 times in chromosome number 2 or chromosome number 3. That is called as copy number. How many times that particular repetitive DNA is getting repeated on particular chromosome. That is called copy number. Based on these 3 criteria, based on AT and CG ratio, based on length of repetitive DNA, and based on the number of times the repetitive DNA getting repeated are called copy number, satellite DNA is classified into 2 types. Based on this, satellite DNA is classified into 2 types. Satellite DNA is classified into 2 types, such as mini satellite and microsatellite. Mini satellite and microsatellite. These are the 2 types of satellite DNA based on the 3 criteria. And this mini satellite would be used as VNTRS. mini satellite would be used as VNTRS. VNTRS means variable number tandem repeats. Variable number tandem repeats. That is called VNTRS. Mini satellites includes VNTRS, and this VNTRS would be used as radioactive probes. This can be used as radioactive probes in case of DNA fingerprinting, or during DNA fingerprinting, this variable number of tandem repeats could be used as radioactive probes. Probes are nothing but small stretch of DNA. Radioactive probes means which emits radiation. Radioactive probes. Probes are nothing but a small stretch of DNA containing specific number of base pairs. Variable number tandem repeats, VNTRS, could be used as radioactive probes during DNA fingerprinting. This is very important. VNTRS is very important. Mainly based on this VNTRS, we are taking the DNA fingerprint of an individual. This is about the types of satellite DNA. Then, the importance of DNA fingerprinting. What are the importance or applications? Applications of DNA fingerprinting. Applications of DNA fingerprinting. Applications of DNA fingerprinting. One is to solve disputed parentage. To solve disputed parentage, DNA fingerprinting is helpful. To solve disputed parentage, in order to identify the father of a baby. To solve the disputed parentage, DNA fingerprinting is used. Here, the main principle of DNA fingerprinting is based on using VNTRS. We are going to take the fingerprint of an individual. For example, fingerprint of the baby. We have taken, this is the fingerprint of a baby. Fingerprint of a baby. Then, we have to take the fingerprint of mother. This is the fingerprint of mother. Then we have to take the fingerprint of suspected father. Suspected father. Then after taking the fingerprint of these three individuals, we have to compare the fingerprint of the baby with the fingerprint of mother. After that, we have to compare the fingerprint of baby with the fingerprint of the suspected father. If the fingerprint of the baby is getting matched with the father, then he is the father of this baby. In order to solve the disputed parentage, DNA fingerprinting is useful. Then another application is to identify the criminals. To identify criminals or rapists. To identify criminals or rapists, DNA fingerprinting is useful. Means for this we have to collect the DNA samples from the crime spot. Then we have to take the fingerprint of suspected individual and fingerprint of the DNA which is obtained in the crime spot, then we have to match. By that we can identify the criminals or rapists. Then to identify lost children, lost or missed children. To identify lost children or missed children. One more, application of DNA fingerprinting. Then to identify the dead bodies. To identify the dead bodies means dead bodies which is obtained after plane crash, completely damaged bodies. We cannot identify the individuals by seeing the faces or body because of complete damage. At that time, or the burnt body. In order to identify the burnt bodies, or in order to identify the bodies obtained during plane crash or some accidents, this DNA fingerprinting is useful. So these are the important applications of DNA fingerprinting. The next one is steps. The main steps of DNA fingerprinting. Steps of DNA fingerprinting. The first step of DNA fingerprinting is isolation of DNA. First step is isolation of DNA. Means we have to collect the DNA from the crime spot or from the victim or from the suspect. Then we have to isolate the DNA. Means DNA is present in the nucleus. For that we need to rupture the cell wall or we need to rupture the plasma membrane or cell membrane. By using particular enzymes we need to rupture the cell membrane. After that we have to isolate the DNA present in the nucleus of the cell using chilled ethanol. Using chilled ethanol we can isolate the DNA present inside the cell. Then after the isolation of DNA, we have to break down the DNA or digestion of DNA. Breakdown of DNA using restriction enzymes. Using restriction enzymes. All these steps we are going to discuss in detail in biotechnology unit. In biotechnology unit, we are going to study in detail regarding isolation or regarding the breakdown of DNA and the types of enzymes, restriction enzymes. What are restriction enzymes? In detail we are going to study in biotechnology unit. So the first step of DNA fingerprinting is isolation of DNA. Then second step is breakdown or digestion of DNA using restriction enzymes. Then the third step is separation of DNA fragments. After breakdown of DNA using enzymes, we will get many fragments, many pieces of DNA. Then we need to separate the DNA fragments. Separation of DNA fragments. Third step is separation of DNA fragments using blotting technique. Using gel electrophoresis. Using gel electrophoresis. Separation of DNA fragments using gel electrophoresis. Here commonly we are using agarose gel. Agarose gel is used in gel electrophoresis technique. By gel electrophoresis technique, we can separate the DNA fragments according to their length of the fragments. They get separated. And here commonly we are using agarose gel, and that agarose gel is not a stable medium. It is not a stable or permanent medium. Hence, we need to transfer the separated DNA fragments into a stable medium that is called nitrocellulose sheet using blotting technique. Next one is using blotting technique. Using blotting technique, transferring the fragments, transferring the separated DNA fragments, into nitrocellulose sheet. Using blotting technique, particularly here we are using southern blotting technique. We can transfer the separated DNA fragments into further constant or stable medium, that is nitrocellulose sheet. After transferring into the nitrocellulose sheet, next one is hybridization. After this, hybridization of DNA fragments with radioactive probes. Hybridization of DNA fragments with radioactive probes means VNTRs. Hybridization of DNA fragments with VNTRs, which is specific to particular individual, or radioactive probes. The last step of DNA fingerprinting is autoradiography. By autoradiography, we can observe the hybridized DNA fragments. Means DNA fragments here forms complementary base pairing with radioactive probes. Such hybridized DNA fragments can be observed by autoradiography. Then, after this autoradiography, we will get one fingerprint of particular DNA which is obtained in the crime spot. Then, we have to take fingerprint of the suspect 1, suspect 2, suspect 3. They may be criminals or murderers or rapists. Then we have to match. We have to match the DNA fingerprint obtained from the DNA of crime spot with the fingerprint of the suspect 1, suspect 2, suspect 3. Then we can conclude that who is the murderer or who is the criminal or who is the rapist. So these are the important steps of DNA fingerprints. With particular example, we will discuss these steps in the next class. Thank you.